The general point of this video is that you'll understand that you learn game dev by building and not by watching. And I promise you, once you understand this, just like it did to me, it will skyrocket your progress as a game developer. And you will release your first game, just like I did. It's very important that we first start by understanding the core issue, and then we can walk through step by step how to actually learn instead the most effective way, so you can actually release your games and make the games you want to make. And you probably have heard this before, but tutorials, they don't work to learn. Like, you need to learn by building things, because your brain, it doesn't remember things that are easy. It only remembers things that are hard and are challenging, especially in a field like programming and game development, where problem solving is like the main thing that we do. That's basically our only job, that's to solve problems and like know how to do things. Building things, doing things that are hard, it's very important that we do these things to actually rewire our brain and remember the things that we want to remember, like how we program, how we make games, basically. You can imagine copying someone else's homework, and sure, you hand it in, but you didn't learn anything. And that's the same with tutorials. You hand the product in, like you make some prototype or finish something based on what you watch on YouTube, but then you go to hand it in and you didn't learn anything. You're still reliant on the guy that did your homework. You're still reliant on the guy you're watching on YouTube. So tutorials, that's what we call passive learning. That's the easy learning. And building things, experimenting, and actually taking notes, like using our brain, doing things that are harder, that's what we call active learning. And that's basically, you can categorize that into one thing, which is building projects and building things. And passive learning, again, that's the easy thing. Active learning, that's the hard thing. So just remember that. Passive, easy. Active, that's the hard thing. That's what we actually learn the most from. Like, in general, you have to like change your mindset that you can learn game development by just watching. You can't. You need to use your brain, and it's going to be hard. Unless you're some super genius or you like have like an expert knowledge in like logic and programming from beforehand, like game development isn't going to be as easy as just watching videos, because most likely you don't have any experience or little experience with actually the things that are relevant to game development, like logic and programming. So we need to learn it the hard way, and that's by using our brain. Learning game development, it's harder than just watching. If it was that easy, everyone would make awesome games, but that's not the case. You just have to remember every time you do something that you should struggle. If you don't struggle, then you won't learn nearly as much as if you did struggle, because you simply won't remember it. You remember it for a few minutes, you'll feel like you're productive. This has actually been researched. You feel like you're productive, but when you go to actually implement the things that you thought you learned and remembered from the videos you're watching or articles you read, whatever it might be, you won't be able to do anything because you didn't remember anything. This has been researched as well. This is the one thing that YouTubers tell you. Like obviously you need to build things to learn programming. Like, that's very common knowledge. I'm just explaining it in a different way. But there is actually a second reason that's actually more important than just the reason of building and your brain will remember easy things. The second reason I'm going to tell you now, it's actually more important. It's much more important than the first reason. And this is something that YouTubers, they don't tell you. And the second issue with tutorials is that it gives you a full sense of. So as I said, it has been researched to make you believe that you actually learn more things than you actually do. You can imagine watching cooking shows. Like, I think we all can relate to this, even me. You watch these cooking shows, you think you're learning so much, like you have so many aha moments, like, aha, oh, I'm going to do this next time. I'm making scrambled eggs. I'm going to lower the heat. I'm going to add cream, whatever it might be. But then you actually go to make scrambled eggs. Did you remember any of these? No, you didn't, because you made scrambled eggs 100 times before. You made it wrong. You made it like the basic way all these 100 times. You're not going to remember it. You're not going to apply it. You're not going to remember it or learn it. You would learn it if you actually did it, let's say 10 times. You would do it and it would become a new habit. It would be like engraved in your brain. But if you just watch, you didn't implement it, then you won't remember it, basically. Like, you can read a cooking recipe online, that doesn't mean you can make the meal yourself. That's not how our brain works, simply. The thing we're talking about right now with the false sense of progress, that's the most harmful part about tutorials and passive learning in general, because it just kills your motivation. Every time you quit a project, it kills your motivation. It feels like you're starting from scratch. It feels like you didn't learn anything from all the time you spent into that project. When you quit, your motivation vanishes. It ruins it, and that in turn kills your momentum. So you always start at level 1. And this is what I call the restart spiral. This is something I talk about a lot inside of Smartindie. So if you join, this is going to be a guarantee. If you join, I will personally help you get out of this, the restart spiral or tutorial hell, based on your situation. So if you have a particular issue that you struggle in, then I'm going to personally help you based on that. So if you join, you can send me a message and we can talk from there. It's seriously such a good value. If that sounded interesting to you and you have like an issue in game development, or if you just want a step-by-step process of how you release your first game within only 60 days, then you can join Smartindie to avoid all of that. It's seriously such a good value, so if that's interesting to you, click the first link in the description. So now we talked about the two main issues with tutorials and passive learning in general. So now I'm going to tell you how to step-by-step get out of tutorial hell and start actually building real projects the right way. So you don't make the other mistakes that come with experiments, prototypes, and building real games. There's a lot of issues that come with that as well. I'm just going to spit a lot of information at you so you don't make these mistakes, at least you're conscious of it. So just bear with me. I promise you, if you implement this, it's going to skyrocket your game development. So how do I do it? Basically, you might think that it's just about building, but that's not it. It's not just about building. You need to focus on things that are hard, and you need to do it the hard way. But in the start, we don't want to do hard things in the start. We want to get to that hard level, like gradually, by building momentum. So we don't end up in this restart spiral, which is basically caused by lack of momentum, which I talked about before, which you might have remembered, that's a cause of lack of motivation. So what we need to do is that we need to build motivation, we need to build self-confidence, which in turn builds motivation, which builds momentum, which makes us able to do things that are harder. So how do we get into this loop? Basically, what we need to do, then we need to start with easy things. Build your own things. Don't watch tutorials to figure out how to build them. Build them, use your brain, try to think for 30 minutes before you actually seek external resources, before you like Google, ask AI, for example. Try to just delay that as much as possible. And if there's something that you really can't do, like you have never done before, then you can go on Google, you search for the specific implementations. So like instead of searching how to make a main menu, you can search for how to make a button, how to do something when you click a button. Like do these niche things instead of just searching for entire implementation. Searching in small pieces, that's going to be so much better than actually searching for like the entire implementation. Because you need to figure out how these tiny pieces need to work together. So you need to understand like the thing you're implementing more thoroughly than just copy and pasting the entire system. Because then you can also use your knowledge that you already have when possible. So you reinforce things that you already know. It's awesome. You can Google the things, go on Stack Overflow, official documentations preferably, and that's going to be the best. That's going to be much better than using AI or all the other guides or passive learning resources out there. Basically, you can still copy and paste code, but you're going to copy and paste like 1 or 2 lines every time. Not going to copy and paste like 100 lines word for word. Instead, we're just going to copy and paste like a few different things that we didn't know before. That's why Googling is actually beneficial here. And it's not just passive learning or cheating, because we actually just copy and paste small things that we need to figure out to implement into our own system, not just copy and pasting the entire system. So as I said in the beginning, start with extremely easy things to build motivation, like do one very easy thing that you can do, then you will gradually build from there, and eventually if you do this enough times, then you're going to have a game in the end. So that's the only way to escape the restart spiral. But I will say, if you want everything laid out step by step for you, and you want like the entire step of the process until you're releasing your first game, which you can do actually within only 60 days, then you can click the first link in the description, and as I said, that's a guarantee. I will personally help you with the issues you're facing if you just send me a message once you're inside. So I'll see you there. Go send me a message and yeah, click the link. Bye.